So yeah, we really do as parents need to find ways of being flexible when our kids are pushing back or when we're wanting them to do something. Getting their work done obviously is another big thing, with schooling coming next week and the online schooling as well. But we really need to find ways to listen to them, to receive that complaint or whatever it is when they just say, "Oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do this." And that's an opportunity. That's a real opportunity for us to relax with the usual reaction. Take a moment, do whatever you do in your own practice like that. Take a breath, or I don't know. For me, I take short moments, which is like a Dzogchen practice. We need a tool to be able to not react. That's one thing. Got to have some kind of tool that prevents us from just immediately reacting in the age-old ways. All of us have this patterns of triggers, which have played out for years and years. Worse and worse, maybe, as our kids get older and they become more powerful, more entitled. We need to have something that is a buffer, first of all, to our immediate reaction. And then, yeah, we need to be able to open up exploration with them, open up communication with them around it. If they don't want something, it might be a complete affront to us. They don't want to do their work, or they don't need. It feels like a disaster. They don't want to. They're not going to eat that food, or they're not going to come outside, or they're not going to get off their screen, or they're not going to go to bed. They're not going to be told what to do. Full stop. From a teenager, it can be just I'm not going to be told what to do about any of it. Bedtimes, I'm going out. See you later. I'm not going to stay in touch. Just I'm out. So yeah, if it's like that, we need a communication bridge. We need to be able to be open to what they're seeing there, and not just reacting as authoritarian parents. None of us want to be associated with that tag, I'm sure, but all of us have to put our hands up for the times when we felt that sense of power over rather than empowerment for. And yeah, to be able to flex. My son had this thing, we are discussing it, my wife and I, just about in his maths. This is again a tiny thing, but it's a good example of how we need to be flexible. He's been set this work in his maths. He's apparently got to do this system where he makes 10. It's like a way of, like, you make up the 10 and then you add the few more on or whatever. You split up two quite simple numbers. You make 10 and then you can see that 6 plus 8 is 14. So you add the 4 to the 6 and 4 is left on the 8. Anyway, it's a system for learning, but he's not into it. He's like, he kind of knows the answer. He just doesn't like this thing of making 10. And so what are we going to do? Are we going to just like force him to make 10 each? He's got to make 10 each time. You can only do it that way. It's a system in maths which is powerful and very useful, I'm sure, for many people. But for me, to my children and to all children, I am open. I'm open to what they see, how they want to do it. Got to have the communication lines open so that we can then work together and go, okay, wow, okay, if you don't want to do it, then what should we do? How can we do it? What would, and that the emotions have to be cooled for these kind of discussions. So if it's hot, take some time yourself and with them, and find ways you can just, how can we do this, open up, like, what do you see? Is there like some other way we could study this topic, or is there some yeah, with everything I've always talked about communication, and it is what I hear in all forums again and again and again and again and again, that the greatest thing you can really hold on to, or the greatest thing you can bring to your relationship with your children when it's strained, or which it is for everybody at certain points, is open communication, open-hearted communication, where you can really talk about it. And the other side of that is that all rebellion is a wish for self-leadership. I really feel like all the pushback we get is self-leadership waiting to be empowered and waiting to be enabled. And even if it comes out in wild forms in teenagers, they're playing with power that is new. So, it can look wild and it can look stupid. And, if we call it out like that, we are pouring petrol on that, on the fire. So, we have to just accept that they are stepping into their power And we don't want to rubbish them. We don't want to belittle them. We don't want to call them out when it doesn't sound totally plausible. Or we want to just find out where they're coming from. Find out, like, bring out their self leadership. If it's going to come out, we want to bring it out so that they can practice it safely with our guidance and with our support. We have to bring in more choice. So in our family units, in our homes, we can really empower that. And what we can do in the home, our children can then take into their school setting, whatever that is. Give the choice to them around how they want to operate, how they want to, what's their plan. One thing I've often said, for me, when I meet a young person who's really flipping out about school, their relationship with their parents is really breaking down, kind of thing, which is not often the case, but sometimes it's really extreme like that, is that I start right from the beginning. I start right from, what's your plan? What do you actually want to do? Let's open it all up. Are you going to leave school? And this is really powerful for students who are rebelling or students who are not doing anything. What is their life plan? It's not to put it on them in a weighty way at all. It's really for the first time. Sometimes I feel like the first person in that young person's life, in memory for them, who's saying to them, what do you actually want to do? And I'm completely open. I've got no agenda. I'm not pushing the fact that they should work harder and get the grades and do all this stuff, then get some job and da 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 da, and otherwise their life's going to fall apart. I'm not on that bandwagon at all. So they meet me and I just go, great, your mum's out the room. This is cool. Now we can really talk, all respect to mums, of course. Well, but this is what works for young people, is to go, okay, great. Now what should we actually do? Like, what do you want? Like, what do you think's going to be a good step for you at this stage in your life? If you're 13, 14, 15, whatever age, your life is becoming your own. You are stepping into independence, but also you're kind of not. So, like, how are we going to get you to step into your own self-leadership? What do you want? And many times it's unbelievable to me, because their parents want them to do maths and English. Many times the kids turn around to me and they say, I really do want to do better in, my maths or my English. Sometimes, which is just funny. When you open up the choice, there comes the self-leadership, and it's often the same thing. Everyone wants the same thing, parent and child, but the way of going about it is so confused. There's so much noise around that decision making for the child, so much pressure, so little time, space, freedom, respect, openness in some ways, that it's all got like squashed up and very confused. So open up that space, say, what do you actually want? This is a new way of parenting. Trust, love, openness, respect, and really the communication is the practical expression of that in many cases. To be able to climb down from the position of authority, act with humility and openness to our children, to respect them as equals, as they have been since they were born. But if it's a new step for us to really step, there's no limit to how much we can step into that, so it's inexhaustible. So no one is we're all working on this together. It is also to do with relinquishing control. Some parents have really been in that quite controlling position through the younger years. And by the time your kid's a teenage, that control is going or gone. So it is a leap of faith. I've always thought of it like that for parents. You've just got to leap into this new way of being, where you're not the boss, you're not in control. And there are many benefits to that, because many parents I also meet are exhausted of micromanagement, absolutely exhausted of endlessly trying to manage this impossible thing. It's managing your teenager is an impossible, very tiring, very exasperating, extremely emotional role. And I don't mean you personally, but one is often getting terrible results doing that. So like the more effort you make as a parent, it's such a good teaching. The more effort you make as a parent, the worse it gets. Like the more you try and control, the more you try and manage your teenager, the worse it gets, because for one thing, you're denying self-leadership. and we are eroding that confidence that they might have to lead in the future, around similar areas or all areas. So spending time with them as a mentor, as a parent, as anybody who has this skill set to be open, to be genuinely respectful, to be truly loving and appreciative of the young person in front of them, to really trust that they know what they're doing, and that, to be able to hear them say anything, to communicate openly with them, where they really can share anything, and you're not going to flip out, or you're not going to kind of judge it. You can just, you can hear the experiences that they're having, the thoughts they're having around anything, and just be with them in that. Ask them what they think. Ask them what they think their solutions are. Would they like some advice? And if not, so yeah, relationship is so powerful. Just giving that time, if you have this capacity and this skill set with your own children and with others. So yeah, it's very much to do with a human relationship. Non-coercion and empowerment of young people, acceptance, full acceptance of them, not in a hypothetical way or a theoretical intellectual way, but just a heart acceptance, and restfulness, ease, to give them also the same, give them restfulness and ease, a sense of really like being accepted by one being, having one special adult relationship, one mentor, one teacher, one parent who can step across the boundaries and really make them feel seen and accepted, and like all is well. It's a way of communicating that all is well. They then can carry out a restfulness and an ease and a deep inner self-confidence that is invaluable. That will sort out all the grade issues that they might be having simultaneously.